I've been writing about strategic thinking in my last two articles. And in the first one, I talked about it as being a mindset, which it is. It's a way that natural strategic thinkers look at the world. And those who are not natural can learn how to do it. It's also a discipline. It's the way that we build opportunities for strategic thinking into our habits or into our routines so that we create habits. I've also been thinking about whether or not one can create a culture of strategic thinking, and I believe we can and we should. I've defined strategic thinking as the discipline of spotting game changers and responding to them in a way that creates a strategic advantage or a competitive advantage for your organization. So there's one definition. I define culture quite simply as the way we do things around here. So how do we make strategic thinking just part of the way we do things around here? Well, I think it's got everything to do with what leaders talk about. What you talk about is what people do. So do you talk all the time about your vision for the organization or your vision for the division or your vision for the team? Do you link all your decisions to the vision in terms of whether this decision will take us closer to or further away from our vision? Do you link successes or setbacks to the vision? Do you talk about them in terms of how this has moved us towards our vision or how this has interrupted our progress towards our vision? So making the connection between what you do, what other people do, what the business is achieving, and the vision is part of how you develop the discussion and create a habit of thinking strategically. Because if you think about every single thing in terms of whether or not it moves you towards or away from your vision, then you are by default thinking strategically. The second thing that you can do is you can build it into your conversations. As leaders, you get to talk to lots of people. You get to hear lots of ideas. You get to hear lots of problems. If you are responding to those thoughts and problems and ideas with strategic questions, then you are going to encourage strategic thinking. So if somebody shares an obstacle or a problem with you and you ask a question like, so how is that going to impact on our ability to achieve our vision? And what do you think we should do about it? That's going to catalyze some strategic thinking. If somebody shares an idea for an improvement, you ask a similar question. How will that contribute to the achievement of our vision? If somebody talks about a process, a product, something that's going on in the organization that's a problem, and you ask a question like, so what would happen if we just stopped doing that? Again, you catalyze strategic thinking. So the questions that you ask have got a huge impact on whether or not people develop the habit of looking at things in terms of their impact on the vision, the opportunities they create for the organization, the threats that they pose to the organization, and how we ought to respond. Then, of course, it could be about your rituals. Most organizations have some kind of annual strategic offsite, which tends to happen at the top of the organization with the very clever people with the big salaries. But what are you doing at every other level of the organization in order to encourage strategic thinking? Do you create opportunities in your town halls for people to present ideas? Do you encourage every company in your business, every division in every company, every team in every division to review its progress against its own objectives and to connect that progress or lack of progress to the vision? Do you create periodic focus groups where people at every level of the organization can look at different aspects of the business and look at them critically in terms of how they are impacting on your ability to achieve your vision? And finally, have you built your value for strategic thinking into your recognition and rewards? Do you reward people who contribute great thinking and great ideas, who solve big problems? Do you reward them by encouraging their participation in the really cool projects? Because that is a very big reward. It pushes people to the front. It gives them the opportunity to show what they can do. I think in many ways it's more powerful than a bonus or a salary increase because of the prestige that is attached to participation in those projects. Do you connect achievement against KPIs with contribution to the vision? Do you reward because of the impact that something makes against your vision? So if you do all of these things, and all managers are doing this at every level in the organization, you cannot but help create a company where thinking strategically is just what we do around here.